legs today. It's going to be kind of a similar setup to how we did it the last time that we filmed. The only thing I'm changing is now I'm doing biceps before legs. So switch that a little bit in the training, where now I'm doing triceps with my back day and then biceps before my leg day. Arms just need to come up, and then that way when I am training back, one of the problems I'm running into is I'm training back and then my forearms are super fatigued and like I can't really like train my biceps hard. So instead I'm doing triceps before back. So forearms are still fresh, biceps are still fresh, like my back is good to go for the back session. And then for legs, it's like bicep curls aren't going to take anything away from the leg session, so we get a little bit of extra bicep volume there. But yeah, on that note, we were supposed to be 2 weeks out today. We are changing our timeline again for this prep. Long story short, just wasn't quite working out for what we had originally intended to do with the show in 2 weeks and then trying to do junior nats in 6 weeks. So we're pulling things back right now. We're going to take a look at doing something, getting on stage later in the year. Really just a lot of personal stuff that we were working through. A lot of things happened in the business where right now just wasn't the best time for me to be prioritizing the prep or be able to do that and be in a good spot, enjoy the process, and really be able to like bring my best package to the stage. Even though we are looking really good physically, obviously mentally you have to be there to compete, and we still had a pretty long stretch ahead of us of at least 6 weeks for the junior nats. So Justin and I, kind of like my team here, made a decision that we're going to pull things back and we'll look at doing something later. So I know some of you guys were excited to see me get on stage. It's cool. We still got super shredded. We got in great shape, and the plan is not to blow up and get super fat or anything. We're basically just brought food up a little bit, bringing training volume down, kind of giving my body a chance to chill, recover, and really just kind of keep things moving the way they were. So nothing different. We're just not going to go get oiled up in a thong 2 weeks from now, but we're still training, eating, doing all that stuff. So we got some legs to train today, and we're going to go make that happen. If you pull up in my Instagram comments with heart eyes, drooling emojis, I love yous, you're getting blocked. It's weird. These people would not come up to me in the gym. You would never say that to my face. Don't say it in my comments. And if you really love watching my content and you feel that way, you keep your mouth shut and you get to stay. But if you say something, makes me uncomfortable, makes my wife uncomfortable, and so you gotta get out of my house. Fire emojis, fine. Flexing emojis, fine. You look good, cool. As soon as you start expressing affection, male, female, robot, dog, I don't care, you're gone, homie. It's not, you don't play that game. It's weird. See, we're not getting too fat. There might have been a cheat meal or two this week, but we're locking things up. Fucking try and keep this going. Ugh. As long as we can. I'll take it, you know? Nice and full. Got one more set here. It's like the best part. If you've ever gotten really, really lean before, you know, the pumps, like the first week of getting some food back in you and kind of letting things normalize a little bit. It's like a match. Like it's crazy because I'm not strong, right? Like compared to where I was peak off season, but like the quality of contraction that you get with even like these lighter weights, so good. So we're gonna keep things pretty mild here. Probably do one more working set. That 60-ish pounds range felt really good for like a hard set of 8 to 10. So I'm gonna do one more here and probably some hammer curls. And the hardest part about this phase is like your body's really not in a spot to grow muscle, right? And some people take the rebound approach, but we're coming off the back end of 22 weeks of hard dieting, of really high training output, a lot of cardio, gear, low food, all that stuff. So really like when you're coming out of this cut phase, I think one of the most important things to do is remember that it's really about recovery and fatigue management. We still want to train. You know, we can still stimulate growth, but not being so quick to, cool, we're going to hit it hard and just get huge now, right? It's kind of like, okay, we're just going to establish a good baseline for training, focus on getting quality work in and just kind of laying a foundation that we're going to be able to progress on week to week. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this phase is like, I would love to come in and just rip 20 sets of biceps, but I know if I start small, 3 to 5 working sets for this body part, that's something I can really scale and build off of as we progress forward. So it's kind of just setting this nice low threshold, really high quality output, and then we can build the volume on the back end. So kind of how I was talking about, you guys saw in those other videos, you know, the intensity was still there, but volume's been coming down through the prep. Now we're kind of maintaining that volume and we're trying to ramp up just the weight that we're working with. And then we'll start to add volume. Volume for me is always kind of like the last thing that we add. You know, we want to really maximize as much as we can with as little total work as possible. And then you'll just hit a point where it's okay, this amount of work isn't producing more growth, or your strength gains are obviously slowing down. And now that's when we know, okay, we're not making these big week to week strength progressions, but we're still recovering fine. That's probably a good time to add a little bit more volume into the program. So one more set here and then we'll keep rocking. Yeah, we got some fucking. You know it's good when you do 3 sets and you already can't fucking flex your biceps anymore. Yeah, keep me humble here. Woo. My body was quite thirsty for carbs. We needed some. Feels good to have some glycogen. Woo. I like these drop shoulder things, but it's a problem when you got big traps, because then they kind of just float. Something I worked out too is just kind of like a tip for dumbbell curls. For me, you notice the kind of rep progression I do is I do like I think of it like a ladder. So I'll do 3-3, 3-3, 2-2, 2-2, 1-1, and then you kind of just alternate that 1 and 1 until you hit failure. This is one of those rare instances where like a straight set almost doesn't work as well, and this is a nice little intensifier to work in where you just get more reps. Something about having that little bit of extra rest, alternating between arms, and then also doing multiple reps in a row on the same arm, especially if you're somebody who maybe struggles with connecting with your biceps. I find you could use a little bit more weight doing the alternating curls, but if you do multiple reps in succession on the one side, you also kind of get a chance to connect with that individual side, get a couple really quality reps, let it rest, and then you're switching back and forth. So that's something I started doing about a year and a half ago, which really, really helped with the quality of my bicep training too. So these feel really good. I'm happy about that. I'll do one more set like this. We'll probably do 1 or 2 sets of hammer curls, and then we'll actually go train legs. How about that? It was a good process for me, like kind of going through the prep when I did, because I feel like it kind of revealed a lot of the things that I know I need to work on to have a successful prep next time. Like everything went really, really well on a physical front, right? Once we kind of started to push the timeline, because I talked about we were going to do USAs and we moved up to junior nats. That's when things kind of started to unravel a little bit, because we got so aggressive that I kind of, it exposed a lot of the inadequacies that I had. Number one, just mentally in like my own structure and framework of like really just trusting the process. I think once we accelerated that timeline, it created a lot of internal pressure on myself to, I got to get better faster, and like constantly try and find ways to like, how can we move this quicker, as opposed to just kind of sitting back, trusting my coach and just going through the motions like I knew I should have been. But then on the other front, it also kind of pointed out like, okay, how do we manage coaching a lot of new clients? How do we manage, a growing social media following and still being able to kind of pursue these other goals? For me, that is the one thing I'm really, really glad is, being able to step back and say, okay, here's the things that I really need to just like work on and figure out in order to be able to get through a prep start to finish, and not just get on stage, but be present for that process, enjoy it, and continue to progress in these other areas of life. So I'm excited that I've got kind of the mental bandwidth back to really continue to work on a lot of these projects that had a lot of momentum behind them. And that was part of what got in my head too, was like things were moving really well, and then I just got overwhelmed and things kind of started to fall apart. Mentally and physically, shit just wasn't clicking. And it really is so true in bodybuilding, your body's gonna follow your mind. And I think if you can't find a way to detach and kind of, for me, I've always been pretty good, especially through my off season going into this prep, was compartmentalizing, right? Like, this is bodybuilding stuff, this is business stuff, this is family stuff, this is personal stuff, and like giving everything its own space. Things just kind of got swirled and mixed together where I wasn't able to do that as effectively. So I definitely know like there's some mental toolkit that I need to unpack and maybe build out a little bit more. But I'm also really happy because it did kind of point out like, okay, these are the areas that we do need to get better at to continue progressing. And guys, at the end of the day, like, it's a bodybuilding show. Like literally, I'm getting oiled up to go stand on stage and show everybody a product of the work that I've been doing for months on end. So the work doesn't stop. It's just, what's the best time for me to put myself in a position where I can display my absolute best? Because that's really what I want to bring, is my absolute best. And knowing that we weren't on track to exactly do that. For me, I feel better knowing, okay, there's an opportunity to try again. Like, it's not a sunk cost, in my opinion. It was a huge learning experience for me, for my coach. We learned a lot about my body too, so I feel really, really confident for whatever show that we do choose to do next, that it's gonna go even better than this prep, and this prep was already the best, like, fat loss dieting phase I've ever had. So it just kind of helped us figure out, like, okay, these are the areas where we still need to get better as a person, we still need to get better as a bodybuilder. So not mad about it one bit at all. And yeah, it's gonna be cool. We still got a lot of cool shit happening, so kind of gives us a chance to do that stuff, you know? You know what I really like about this machine? This second platform right here. I'm actually just trying to get my heels to touch it. And that was like a really good cue for actually getting me to stretch far enough on these. That felt really good.
Do you find that the bottom part of these is better than the top part? Like, as far as contraction or stretch, where do you focus?
100%. Really, when I do calves, like this changed a lot for me. For a long time, I always knew the stretch was the important part, right? But my problem was I would try and do the stretch and like still get like a full contraction every rep. What I started to realize is that I was getting more out of doing the stretch and then contracting really hard until at least 90 degrees. From here to here, this bottom half, your actual ankle extension or flexion, whatever you want to call it, that's going to be where most of your actual like gastroc engagement is, which is going to be this thick superficial head of the calf, versus your soleus is going to be more engaged. So that's going to be the deep calf muscle. It's going to be more engaged with that bent knee in that fully contracted position. So for me, since I'm trying to get this kind of longer head here to flesh out, I know that the bottom portion of that rep is probably going to matter a little bit more. I hope I got my terms right, guys. Anatomy was not my best class, but I will say from a sensation feeling, I definitely, like, for me, I want that nice like deep calf insertion. I got pretty high calves, and I do find spending more time in the stretch really does help kind of activate this space right here. That, and then like, it's kind of bro science-y, but I really do feel like just play with foot positioning, play with different stances, toes in, toes out, feet closer, feet further apart, knees slightly bent, knees straight, and just find the one where you can really like fucking push your calves. Just find the one where you connect with it, where you can get really deep, nasty burns and stretches, and then also still be strong through that pressing movement, just like with any muscle. It's just finicky because ankles are weird. You've got so many different joints that can move from your hips to your knees to your ankles to literally like your toes that can impact your ability to engage your calves. So that would be my advice to you if you're kind of struggling with calf training, which I think we all do, unless you're just like one of those genetically blessed freaks, is kind of try everything until you find what works for you. High rep, low rep, do a little bit of both, do some half reps, do some monster sets, do some super sets, do some drop sets. I will say, like, just good, heavy, hard sets. I find I get the most out of calves. You got to remember that they're a very, very tough muscle. Calves are used to doing a lot of work, so I really don't find that high rep stuff works as well as focusing on deep stretches under really, really heavy load. Because you got to think about, that's a lot less common for your calves to actually experience on your day-to-day when you're walking around. You're never really like stretching under really heavy weight. You're usually just kind of standing So personally, I feel like that's where, if we're talking about stimulus, that's where you can kind of create that novel stimulus for those muscles that'll actually trigger new growth. So that's where my mind goes. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's pumped. Oh, those hurt. My nose is 8 feet long, so I can't really talk shit, you know? With this fucking air intake valve. It's great. That's why I'm so strong. I get so much oxygen per breath in through my giant fucking nostrils. Makes me look real scary, you know? Oh, yeah. This is one of those exercises that I've been kind of dreaming about through the prep, where I was like, man, like, when did my legs really have their best look? And that's when I was squatting really consistently, specifically Smith squatting. This is a movement I've just always felt really comfortable in. I stopped doing them for a while, kind of for my low back. So as we're progressing, kind of changing things up here, one thing I did notice through this prep is my ass got super, super flat. Like I had like Taylor Swift butt happening from the side. So definitely been neglecting some RDL movements, some squatting movement patterns. So this is not a movement I'm gonna build up a lot of volume on. I'm probably gonna keep this around one working set for everything moving forward. But today it's good exercise to get back into things. Really not gonna push weight. I think my cap needs to be probably about 4 plates right now. Which is always a little bit of a mental challenge, because like I've seen myself do that and way more than that. But really just prioritizing taking these through a full range of motion, really connecting with the actual muscle, and then doing that with really good bracing and a strong core. That is one thing I'm happy about through prep that I'm definitely keeping in, that's felt really good, was doing a lot more direct like ab and core work. Has actually helped with a lot of the kind of lower back pain that I struggled with, just having a stronger midsection, moving around more throughout the day, so getting a higher step count. So I definitely feel like I can brace a little better for these movements, but definitely need to be mindful of kind of the risk reward ratio here. So we'll take our time warming up. We'll probably do one hard set and see how we do.
Do you have a favorite Smith machine?
This one, actually, the Cybex vertical Smith machine, so good. I've been wanting to buy a Smith machine for my house as long as I've had a house. And if I ever do, I'll be one of these guys. But any vertical Smith, I like the Cybex though, it's really smooth. I feel like it has like a good like density to the bar too. And it's always nice with the Smith when they go all the way to the ground. Huge benefit, especially I love a Smith machine, man. I feel like if I could only pick like 2 pieces of equipment to build a whole physique with, it'd be like a functional cable trainer and a Smith machine. That'd be good. I wouldn't need dumbbells or barbells. It would just be those 2 things, and I think you could build a pretty kick-ass physique with it. So Smith squats too are just one of those, like, when I'm doing Smith squats, I feel like I'm like bodybuilding, you know? Like, that's just like a root movement for me. I've always loved squatting. my favorite exercise coming up. I was always really strong with it. Always had a good connection, like good movement pattern, and mentally it's just one of those like I can just fucking rip into, you know? So it is always tough getting back into them. I really do have to restrain myself, but I'm excited to set up a foundation to just get stronger. And there's a lot of carryover too. I feel like I notice when you're squatting heavy, there's something psychologically, like our squats and deadlifts, the best like hypertrophy movements, maybe not, but I think the carryover that they have to the mental approach to training of really having to like brace and like really get aggressive for a set, and also kind of just like the internal cueing that they teach, like the total, what would you even call that? Like proprioception, right? Like your awareness of where your body's at in space. I feel like that's one of the biggest things those movements are really, really beneficial for. Whether you're advanced or kind of a newer trainee, I feel like it just teaches you A, intensity, B, mental control during a set, and then C, kind of your own like kinesthetic awareness. So big fan of the big compound lifts, and happy to be doing these. But we'll throw another plate on here, keep going. Okay. Probably need to not do these today. I got a little bit of a hernia type feeling happening there, which if you're ever squatting and your balls start to hurt, you probably need to stop squatting. So that's fucking lame. That's all right. That's where we're at right now. Again, point wasn't to push the session, so I don't know, maybe I'll hang out here. We'll do another set with the 2 plates and just kind of work through. My legs are still super pumped. So we're hitting on our key points. That was really weird. It's like everything felt fine, and then get under some pressure at the bottom, and it was just right nut there. Felt like it was getting stabbed with a hot poker. So I think what we'll do, I'll do one more easy set here, just to kind of get back into the pressing movement with the quads. And then we'll probably do like some extensions, maybe a seated curl. Maybe I'll try like a single leg press. We can still get a little bit behind that, but my body is obviously telling me that it is not ready to go to war under a lot of weight yet. So that's okay. We'll get there in due time. That's part of what's tough about this process is like, you get food, you get a little rested, mentally you feel better, like you're coming off the back end of this prep, and like you're psychologically, you're ready to like go and get it and train hard. And this is where it becomes really important to just pay attention to those internal cues. Don't ignore how your joints feel. Don't ignore, you know, these little trigger warnings, because this is just the starting point, and the last thing you want to do is trip right when the gun goes off. It's kind of like we've got plenty of time to settle into that pace. Right now, more than anything, this for me is also just kind of about mentally resetting, enjoying training, enjoying the gym. So I'm trying to focus on movements that I like doing, that get me excited to come in and train. But of course, doing that, you know, within reason. And so that I can do it sustainably. So that way it's never just about today's session. It's about, can I progress today? And then based on what I do today, can I continue to progress past that? So, we'll play around with it a little bit, but it's funny too, because I was doing a really heavy, like quad focused stance on there. So usually I notice that a little bit more if I open my knees out, or like really try to get kind of like the adductors and more of like your actual like pelvic muscles involved in the squat, which I wasn't doing, but that's okay. That's where we're at. This is also kind of scary. So hopefully they do something about that. Oh, don't wiggle this too much. I don't know, whatever. I like this gym. I always get nervous when equipment's not bolted down. As a strong guy though, I've seen some terrible things. I actually had a buddy who cut off his pinky in a Smith machine once. So I'm always extra careful on here too. Make sure your shit's racked before you get out, because his shoulder got caught. He was coming out and it rolled and guillotined his pinky, degloved it. So that whole thing sliced. Like, hey, you squatting like 5 plates and just whop. And you know, you're all amped up after a set. And he was like, yeah, dude, like he came in that same day and showed me. He's like, dude, I was squatting, I got done with my set, I racked it, and my friend's like, yo, you dropped your AirPod on the floor. He's like, I don't have AirPods. And he looked, it was the tip of his finger got guillotined off by the smooth machine. So he kept it, went to the hospital, got stitched up, and then he actually put his little pinky tip in epoxy. He made a little thing out of it. So that was really gross. I remember waking up, I was on prep. That was during my last prep. Waking up and like taking a dump at 5 in the morning, and I got a photo from this guy in my Instagram DMs, and it's just like a severed, like bloody stump of a pinky. Yeah, so I'm always a little extra mindful of where are my hands during Smith squats. But I'll do one more here, and it's all good. I mean, the nice thing is, like, one thing that's really helped me with squatting is I've done so much of it. This is kind of like if you have a sports background and you're going to take a free throw, or you're going to throw a pitch, or take a field goal, whatever it is. Especially for lifts like this that require a lot of like psychological effort. Developing kind of like a pre-lift routine that you do. You'll see this with like power lifters, Olympic lifters, but kind of the way that you get set up. If you can eliminate a lot of those variables, for me, it's nice. I can always come back to a movement like this, and I know exactly what I need to do to get my body in the position to squat and be strong and comfortable. So it's just shitty that like I roll through, all that stuff feels good, and internally there's pain. But otherwise, I guess I'll just use this as an opportunity to practice that, you know? Whew. I'm happy with that. That was a good set. That was like 20 reps. Good form, super controlled. My legs were shaking, so I know the muscles working. And again, it's a recovery phase. So that stimulated muscle, that didn't break my spine. It's still hard. So we'll rack this up. We'll go do some leg extensions. I think I'll do one more set here. We'll do like 1 or 2 sets of seated hamstring curls, and we'll call it a day. Didn't move any crazy weight, but my legs got worse. They're pumped. That's I feel like that's one of the things when you have like food back in your system too, is I can actually like engage the muscles a lot more. So I'm getting out a little bit more out of every rep than I normally would, just in terms of like my ability to actually contract and like keep tension on the muscle. So I'm happy with it. Like, it feels good. And that's really all I care about right now, is like training feels good. So, you know, like I said, we're not necessarily making big progress. We're not trying to lose any progress. It's more so just like, let's get restabilized and get back into a rhythm where shit's fun again, you know? So it feels like that today. Whew. Peanut M&Ms, Costco salad, lemon loaf, Cheez-Its. This was yesterday. I had Cheez-Its. And. Which I've been the same way. So that's what I'm saying. I've been fucking snacking and grazing. It's like, okay. Which is funny because I've never been like that. Like, never really cared about food. It's definitely, I've been a little more indulgent. This is the first time in my life I've ever really understood how people get really fat, though. Seriously, so weird. Like, I've always been pretty emotionally, like, I don't really care, you know, like always eating for fuel. But like, so strange. Like, it just hit, it's like a crack, dude. Like, crunchy, sweet stuff. It's like, whoa, you know? Just funny because even like when I was in the meat of the prep, I didn't feel like that. I think sometimes it's like you take the pressure off and it's like, you can enjoy this. Like, you're allowed to. And then it's like, oh my God, you know, like food is so good. And it's so funny because I've always had a small appetite. I've always been a skinny guy. Or I'm like, yeah, like, I don't really care. Last couple days, it was like, yeah, it's maybe a little emotional. A little emotional eating happening. But it's good. We got it out of our system. Then Justin's like, yeah, let's probably do a little bit of retatrutide here. So we are using that for the reverse. I had kind of experimented with it a couple weeks ago in prep. At the time, I didn't like it. It really messed with my digestion. Hopefully I'll do it better with it now. Just because, I don't know, maybe it'll help me kind of restrain on that front. I don't love the way it makes me feel, but you know, it is a good tool, like we were saying, to make sure that I'm not like unraveling all the work that we've done over the last 5-6 months here. So I want to stay lean. Like, I really do want to stay in good shape, at least through this whole recovery process. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see if it sticks. It did make me feel kind of funky up here, but I don't know how much of that was food or the Retta and how much of that was just me. So we'll try it. We'll see what happens.
Get that guy from.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I was 6 probably. And have you ever seen an agave plant?
I think so, yeah.
So it's like, for those of you guys who don't know, it's like a succulent looking plant, but a really big one. So they're these big, thick, like flat leaves. And they're really fibrous and dense. And on the end, they have these big old thorns. Like, they're thick thorns. And they're probably about 1 inch, 2 inches long. We had one of these in my front yard when I was a kid. And there was like they're in this planter, right? So there's this little curb and then there's these bushes. And I was just like walking on this curb, balancing, whatever. And I just fell over and I fell. And one of those thorns went straight into my leg and under my kneecap. So it was fully embedded in there. Luckily my dad's a paramedic. So I'm laying in the front yard. He's home. I'm screaming my head off. He takes his scissors and he cuts my pant leg off and he makes a splint out of like Costco boxes and duct tape and wraps my leg up. And we lived like 3 minutes from the urgent care. There's a hospital like 2 roads over from my house. So we whip over there real quick. They take me in. I get this doctor that comes in and she's with like a medical student. She's like, oh, this is where it gets really fun. They shove anesthesia in there and I'm screaming my head off, dude. They shove the anesthesia in there. I swear they didn't wait at all. They take a scalpel and they cut on 3 different spots here. Rip that thing out of my leg. That's the most blood I've ever seen come out of my body in my entire life. I just remember like screaming my head off. There's blood all around my leg and they just freaking wrapped it up. And I hobbled my way into school like 2 days later. This psycho doctor that put the penis-shaped scar on my knee. It's been about 20 years and it's still there. So there's a lot more stories where that came from. I was pretty injury prone as a child, but taught me a lot about pain tolerance. Now we're here. Voluntary masochism, baby. On a real note though, I think that's what got me into skateboarding and stuff, was like I just like getting hit. And then I found bodybuilding and it was like I can just train and hurt myself for fun all the time. And decided that that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So, voila. Pretty happy with that. That's gonna be a wrap for leg day this week. Cool. Shoulders, biceps, and legs is done. Again, this is kind of the first session heading into this reverse diet phase. So again, we're not rebounding. The goal here is not to get super, super fat or start necessarily an off season. We're kind of just transitioning out of a dieting fat loss phase, letting the body rest and recover so that we can just evaluate and figure out what we're going to do next. I really don't have future show date in mind or anything picked out at the moment. Right now is kind of just about getting back into the swing of things, letting the body recover a little bit, and mentally getting ourselves in a spot where, you know, we can figure out what we want to do next. But with that, good training session today. I am really excited to kind of walk you guys through this process. That's been the one cool thing about this, is even though I'm not getting on stage and showing you guys the competitive part, I can kind of show you how we're going to navigate turning from a really aggressive deficit and fat loss phase into now kind of this reverse dieting recovery phase, just with training and everything. Of course, there will be new YouTube video every Monday still coming out for you guys. Definitely make sure you follow me on Instagram so you can keep up with kind of the day-to-day stuff that happens there. Post all the time my stories if you want to see what really goes on behind the scenes. On that note, if you are someone who's been thinking about competing, you want to level up your physique, you want to get in better shape, I am still accepting new coaching clients. There's going to be a link in the description if that's something you're interested in that you can apply for there. Or if you want to have a conversation, get some more information, you just DM me the word unit on Instagram and we will pick up there and figure out what's the right move for you. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Definitely make sure that you like and subscribe and share this video with a friend. The channel's been growing a lot, which is super, super exciting. I love that you guys enjoy the content, all the positive feedback there. Make sure you follow Preston too, my filmer, editor, therapist, whatever you want to call this guy. He puts a ton of work into this content, so definitely you guys liking this video is you guys telling him he did a great job too, and me that I'm doing a good job of being my, you know, handsome, charismatic self for the camera as always. But it's, yeah, I think that's it. Next time you see us, we'll be probably in the gym doing something else. So we'll catch you next Monday.